We're in a world where we need multifunctional landscapes. And we've got land managers trying to deliver that need. NatureSense is a new initiative from the University of Sussex for monitoring the state of nature and the benefits nature provides people across the South Coast counties. We're doing some high precision drone survey work, which is mapping all the habitat in this 200-metre radius area around our monitoring station. So what it's doing is flying on a grid pattern. It just goes backwards and forwards, and it gets 1,000 photographs or so in the process. And then we get some fancy software back in the lab that stitches it all together and creates a 3D model of the landscape. We can then do this year on year to create a map of how the vegetation is changing over time, which is essential for understanding how well it's going to support biodiversity. I really want the University of Sussex to build long-term partnerships with land managers across the region so that we are consistently providing the data that they need in order to improve their land management and adapt to the challenges that they face.
This is a LiDAR scanner. It uses laser beams to detect surfaces to a really high degree of precision. So for example, when we're using the drone, that's a great way of looking at vegetation from above. Using this, we can peek underneath that tree canopy and get a really good metric from which we can assess things like how much carbon is being sequestered in a forest.
So we've got our monitoring station, which is a fancy word for a post, fence post in the ground. But it's quite handy because it means we can put our camera trap and put various audio recording devices attached to them, and it means we can do it in multiple habitats. So here we've got a camera trap that's going to be monitoring this area behind me for all the big mammals, medium-sized mammals, and this is creating videos so we can look at not only what species richness, so how many different species turn up, we can see how often they turn up, and we can see what they're doing while they're here. We think the reason you want to work with NatureSense is because we're collecting a lot of different types of data, and we're collecting it in the same place at the same time, and then we're doing that across a network of sites. This gives us some major advantages. It means we can look at why the things are changing in a particular location, we can look at the diverse benefits for people and nature at the same time, and we can compare it across different habitats, different land management approaches, and we can help share that data so people are feeding into a network of information. Now we're putting up our passive acoustic monitoring device. This is a scheduled time recorder of the soundscape around us. We try and get the bird's song, but it might also be the invertebrates, the crickets, the others that might be calling in the background. And the complexity of that sound, we can analyse it mathematically and give us an indication of what the ecosystem is doing and its health.
So here we're showing a 2D projection of a kind of multifaceted view of what's in the audio data. So we can see that there's clear differences between two different locations across all of the different recordings that we have.
You can kind of start to see the onset of the dawn chorus at around 3 in the morning, and you kind of have this kind of qualitative differences between sites. So at the south site you get a lot more bird activity, and then at the north site there seems to be quite a lot less, and then you kind of have a relatively consistent bird activity throughout the day, and then it kind of falls off towards the night time.
NatureSense is not only collecting lots of standardised data in very established ways, we're also at the cutting edge of creating new technologies and new analysis pathways that are going to improve the way we measure nature.
It sounds unusual, but we've been listening to this cowpat. So cowpat's in particular a very new area of what we can do with acoustics. So we've been working for about a decade with how we can infer biodiversity or something about ecological status from the sounds in the environment. We're still working out exactly what are these sounds that we're hearing. Some of the sounds we hear will be intentional, so organisms communicating, and some of them are just incidental, so movement, scuffling, worms squiggling through the ground. I don't know what the verb is for worm movements, scuffling of insects in leaves and so on and so forth.
The classic way of sampling invertebrates is normally quite destructive. You have to kill everything that you find, and the great thing about acoustics is that this provides a non-invasive, non-destructive way of sampling insects, which is even more important now, the fact that Many dung beetles in the UK are actually threatened with extinction, so the less we can kill in our scientific studies, the better.
Whether you're providing food production or biodiversity benefits or carbon benefits, land managers have this incredibly complex task of meeting all the needs of people and all the needs of nature. And Nature Sense is helping them make the best decisions possible to meet those needs while also running a successful business themselves and deliver that kind of sustainable future that we're all looking for.